Beautiful Anonymous changes each week. It defies genres and expectations. For example, our most recent episode, I talked to a woman who survived a murder attempt by her own son. But just the week before that, we just talked the whole time about Star Trek. We've had other recent episodes about sexting in languages that are not your first language, or what it's like to get weight loss surgery. It's unpredictable, it's real, it's honest, it's raw. Get Beautiful Anonymous wherever you listen to podcasts.
If you've struggled with stress, balance, or burnout, and simply feel discouraged or even defeated, and if you're ready to move from force to flow and enjoy ultimate Zen success in your career, health, or relationships, then the Zen Success Show is for you. Your host, Carissa Sims, is an entrepreneur, corporate consultant, best-selling author, meditation teacher, and healer who has found her own Zen success. Here's your host, Carissa Sims. Welcome to this week's episode of Zen Success. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Sue Morter. Hi, Dr. Sue.
Hello there. Wonderful to be here.
Thank you. Let me share a little bit about Dr. Sue. Dr. Sue is the USA Today number one best-selling LA Times and number one Amazon best-selling author of The Energy Codes, the 7-step system to awaken your spirit, heal your body, and live your best life. Through the Energy Codes, Dr. Sue provides techniques to activate untapped energy and neurocircuitry in the body, empower hidden potential, and become one's true essential self. She is the founder and creator of the globally taught coursework, The Energy Codes, a multi-level body of work on personal and spiritual development. Dr. Sue also created the BodyAwake certified yoga program. It is co-creator of the Bio-Energetic Synchronization Technique, B.E.S.T. She has served on professional licensing boards. That's amazing. I'm so glad they're embracing you and your work. Providing guidance to healthcare practitioners on integrative approaches to healthcare leadership. Dr. Sue is also adjunct faculty at 2 medical schools at Michigan State University and AAU school, classified as one of the top universities in the world. That's incredible. All of you aspiring medical students, make a note. Michigan State University. I'm going to go there. Okay. Dr. Sue is the host of Gaia TV's Healing Matrix and co-host of Your Year of Miracles lifestyle training. Dr. Sue was recently honored for outstanding achievements as a member of the Transformational Leadership Council. Welcome, Dr. Sue.
My pleasure to be here. Absolutely. Love to get into these conversations. And so I look forward to seeing where we get to go today.
Yes. Amazing. I first heard about you through a friend. She is a B.E.S.T practitioner, and this was about 15 years ago. And I also attended Agape, so I knew about you through Reverend Michael Beckwith, and I sang in the choir. So you have been in my sphere of influence. And then I had the opportunity to interview you for the Global Oneness Conference and Summit. So it's been amazing to connect with you.
Yes, our paths continue to cross because of this common interest. And we know that there is a deeper meaning to life, and we're interested and we're inquiring and we're engaging in those ways. And so our paths cross. And the same is true for the people that are here today, just because of that common vibrational frequency that streams us into a community. And by doing so, we enhance each other and allow for this greater truth to rise up and have a voice and have some breath and have some robustness so that it can make its way in the world. And, thank goodness, right?
Yes, thank goodness. Yes. And it's no accident if you're listening today for the wisdom, listen to the wisdom Dr. Sue has, and see if there's a deeper meaning for you and something that you need to move forward in your life. And maybe it's buying one of her books. She's got many, but buying her recent book, The Energy Codes, or buying one of her workshops, or signing up for her membership. I mean, I don't always lead in with that, but I just felt called to, just really listen and feel like if you want to go further with Dr. Sue. And I want to go into healing because I know you're passionate about that, as am I. Do you believe that everyone has the power to heal themselves?
Oh, yes, definitely. There's not a doubt in my world that people have the ability to heal themselves. I have only ever used natural healing techniques that are based in energy and energy flow and movement, and I've spent a lifetime in research regarding how our thoughts and our disposition, our beliefs about ourselves, and how we navigate in the world, how we process information, what our come from has everything to do with how the energy can flow through our body. And if the energy is flowing through our body, we self-heal. And if the energy gets blocked, we stop healing. And so the reason that most people would doubt whether they have the ability to heal something is because, number one, they're not educated along these lines. They just haven't been exposed to the information. And number two, their energy might be bogged down so much that even if they've tried a few techniques here and there and they haven't gotten the results, they begin to assume that, well, I just have some situation going on that needs something different than that. It's not the case. What we need is to learn how to address a variety of things at the same time so that we can build enough momentum for a shift in our health and our vitality. And the body is definitely built to allow for that, as long as we're not convincing our body that there's some stress that we need to be running from or fighting. And as soon as the system recognizes that there is no emergency actually at hand, it immediately starts healing. That's where people get tripped up. But the short answer to your question would be absolutely, people have the ability to heal.
Yeah, that's incredible. And just commenting on what you said, you've always used natural ways of healing. Can you dive into that a little bit more? So any type of illness, or can you share an example of how this worked in your own life?
Sure. So I've never gone to the doctor and said, okay, I have these symptoms, and then doctor writes me a prescription, and then I go to the pharmacy and fulfill that prescription, go home and take a pill to get up. I've never done that. And so the reason I've never done that is I was raised by a pioneer in the world of energy medicine. And
wow, aren't you lucky?
Yeah, so it was my upbringing. And so I saw not only all the patients that my father was working with, or the people that would travel from around the world to be treated by him, listen to his conversations, but it was just like how we were raised. It was like the system that we were in. And so when I got a headache, I knew what to do to relieve it. If I had a respiratory issue coming on, I knew what to do to either prevent it and stop it, or if it got a hold of me because I was stressing or worrying or something along those lines, and depleting my immunity and my body's ability to self-heal and self-regulate, then I knew what to do to at least get through it, and get to the other side with ease and with flow, so that I wasn't just like taken out the way that we sometimes feel. And so all of it has to do, as I mentioned earlier, with the energy that moves through our system is designed to be in a flow, just like your blood is supposed to be circulating. If the blood system bogs down, we get into trouble. Tissues begin to necrose, or they start to become diseased. And the same thing is true if the energy isn't flowing. It's a very similar system. So we have to learn how to manage it. Now, the interesting thing is, when we get stressed or upset, or we obsess about something, or we just flat think that we're not enough, and so we're constantly proving and validating that that's true by shutting ourselves down, or not showing up for things, or just having a different come from in life, what happens is that energy system just sort of short circuits. It starts shutting things down and trying to survive. And so what we have to do is learn how to turn it back on again. And so I have loads of practices that I do for different things, and things that I do to be preemptive and to keep my system running, on cue and with vitality and replenishing immunity and those types of things. So I'm happy to go into examples. You just tell me where we want to go.
Yeah, we're going to go into it. But I just want to say, I don't know why this is coming up, but I just feel like you're beautiful inside and out. It feels like you're ageless. So whatever you're doing is working. I mean, it's like what you're saying, vitality and being proactive, being preventative. I'm sure you have some amazing techniques for that as well, to be forever young, like the way you look.
We're made of energy, and the facts about energy is that energy cannot be created or destroyed, period. And that's the world of science. Science would describe it that way. And the world of spirituality would say you are spirit, and spirit is eternal. And so what I started doing was recognizing if those facts are both true, and they are, then how can I live into that? How can I bring that to life instead of it being a theory? How can I just start to engage as if it's true? And so what I recognized is that the less I think about things and the more I trust what's moving in me, what I feel, as most people would refer to it as a hunch or a gut feeling or this inner voice or that type of thing. If I could put a megaphone on that inner voice, and if I could turn on the spotlight on that gut feeling, and if I could allow that heart of hearts, deep personal desire to be valid, then what would happen is a new version of me would start to blossom. And that's what's happening in my life. And every year I literally feel like I have my arms wrapped around more, understanding more. I'm able to help people in additional ways constantly. And I'm healing things. I healed a scoliosis in my spine. I healed a pattern of migraine headaches. So when I have injuries, I can heal them without the traditional methods. Most often broken bones and such, I've been able to work with getting the energy moving through these accidents or these incidents or these injuries in a way that allows the tissues to just do what they're built to do. But what usually happens is we have an accident, we injure ourselves, and we think, oh no, it's not going to be good. I'm never going to be the same. Or what if I can't heal from this? Or all those types of energetic inputs that we put into the situation have an impact. And the subconscious has no choice but to respond to what we're thinking in our minds, what we're doing. And so what happens is it begins responding as if your worst fear is a possibility, a real possibility. And so it starts producing the chemistries, it starts generating the neurotransmission, it starts activating muscles and organs and glands in accordance with, okay, here comes the worst. And all the while, who's to say you were supposed to head down that road? What if you were supposed to have that accident, be bruised up or banged up or whatever happened, and then overnight begin replenishing and rejuvenating and be flexible and pliable and be able to fluidly move into the next day as if, that was, nothing. And I don't mean to make light of things, but what I know is that people make heavy of things a lot. People are drawn to the worst case scenario. They are interested in, oh my God, what might happen? We go to it instantly as a means of protection, but it wastes a lot of our resources. And we end up fighting bears or dealing with emergency situations that aren't as bad as they really needed to be if we didn't get overly emotional and overly dramatic. So I'm not saying shut down your emotions. If you have them, feel them. But there are certainly some things that we can do, and maybe we'll do some here today together to work with those energies instead of letting them get the best of you and bog you down, because there's another way. There's a free way to flow with what's happening in life and allow it to support you instead of feeling like it's trying to take you out or take you down. And, it's right now in our lives is it's time. It's time for us to learn how to do what we're talking about, because the outer world is less reliable than it's ever been. because one minute you hear this, and the next minute you hear this, and the next minute you hear that's not true, and then that's not true, and nothing's true. And so the mind just gets confused. And what I feel that is doing is just begging us to go inside and decide for ourselves what we feel is true for us and right for us, and to action on that. It will evolve us. It will change us. It will generate fourth dimensional beings out of us instead of 5 sensory stimulus response survivor people. And, it's a lot more fun living that way for sure. So we can definitely dig in.
Yes. Oh, wow. So much more fun and vibrant and alive. And I just really resonate with what you're saying. My heart is expanding. I feel like you're part inspirational speaker and part spiritual scientist. Has anyone ever called you spiritual scientist? Because I really love how you apply, like you show the results of the science. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Spiritual scientists, maybe, but I love hearing it from you.
Okay.
I've definitely been told that from scientists that they love that cutting edge scientists, that they love that I bring the spiritual component into the conversation because it completes their study, and it gives them an understanding of many of the findings that they're finding that allows things to kind of harmonize out and, most importantly, become applicable. We have scientific research that is what it is, and it tells a story. But if people don't know how to take that and utilize it for their good and to actually implement it or apply it, then it doesn't do us as much good to know all this information, in the first place. So I come from a clinical environment. My dad was a clinician. He worked with people. He wasn't just a scientist. And so it's definitely in my genetic makeup and in my environmental influence as well. And I love putting it together for people with heart and meaning and getting the outcomes that are essential for our very reason for being here, right? We need to get results, or it's just another theory. And then people get afraid and they get frustrated because they feel like, nothing's ever going to change, and it's not true. It certainly doesn't have to be like that at all. So, okay, spiritual science.
Yeah, you have. Okay. That's a good tagline. Have people ever said to you, well, that might be the case for you, but I'm not like that, or I don't know how I could ever be like that, because they weren't raised that way? I mean, a lot of society is really focused on, if you have a broken bone, you go to the ER, you go to the emergency room and you get it fixed. So what do you say to people that respond to you with that?
Sure. Now, so broken bones, that's pretty up there. That's pretty like, wow.
That's like high level spiritual healing. Okay. I know I'm going extreme here. Okay. Maybe we start with a headache.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start with headache. All right. So, first of all, the broken bones were compression fractures. They weren't like broken bones this way, but they were like dents where the periosteum is, but it would have been immobilized with a cast or significant bracing, et cetera. But I wanted to work through that in a different way. So, keep that in mind. But
okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. What we do, if I was in a car accident and blood is shooting out of my body, I'm not going to sit there and, go to work. I'm like, get me to the ER and we'll deal with this later. Okay.
Okay. So we have some context here. Okay. Yes. Okay.
But I do know this. People are on medications that they don't need to be on anymore. They don't need to be on them, but they need to know how to get their system running in a way that will allow them to relieve that pattern, that protocol, to release it. And it's essential that we build up the correct healer within underneath that before they would even try to shift such things. Otherwise, if we're not doing this and we're not doing this, we have a problem. So I'm not saying that our Western medical approaches are inadequate. It's just that it's really designed to be used for emergency care, and we're supposed to be educating ourselves on what we call preventive care, but it's really just truly living into our full potential. When we start revealing our true magnificence, the body starts self-healing automatically. We're not setting out trying to prevent problems. I don't do that, because if I was setting out every day to try to prevent disease, my mind would be on disease every day and how to save it from it. And I don't even think about that. It's like, no, wait, what else can I be? What else
Yes.
can I discover? What else can
Yeah.
I allow? What else can I let go of? What else can I birth into its place? And those are productive questions. And I really want people to learn how to feel and how to be safe feeling what they feel. A lot of people don't want to feel. So they live in their heads because feeling emotional stuff is painful, and trusting all that is just too hard. And so they get up into their heads and they try to be smart and strategic and figure it out and outsmart, or get ahead of the game or what have you. And it works for like 20 or 30 or 40, even 40 years, sometimes even more than that, if somebody has a good genetic background, like a strong, robust family background that they were born into.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, the system is going to give way. It's going to break down sooner than it should have because we're using our resources incorrectly. And so I love it that you are, I don't know how old you are, but you are in the age group that you are, and that you're interested in this in such a deep level, and that you have been for a while, because it's usually later in life that people start listening, because they start noticing, oh God, what's going on here? Maybe I need to learn some more stuff about my ability to heal, etc. And so when people are younger and they're interested, they're awake in this way, it's preemptive automatically, because you're going to educate yourself right into this fluidity without having to hit the wall before you start listening, And so I'm just super grateful for what you're doing and bringing all of these kinds of conversations together for people. So let's take headaches for example.
Okay, I love it because it's such a common issue that I feel like people are having. My friend had a migraine on Thanksgiving and couldn't make Thanksgiving dinner.
Wow, boy, do I know those days. Those were my days
You
of
know
the
those
past.
days.
Those
Oh,
were my days of the past.
okay.
Yeah. So let me first just establish, I want to show a little picture of something I use when I'm
Yes.
doing my online classes. And I have like loads and loads of things, images that I create that I show people just to show them how the body system is working and what we can do to facilitate healing. So this is a flow of energy that comes from above the head down through the body, hits the earth, turns and rises up again, comes up and out through the top of the head and cycles around the outside of the body, and it recycles and recycles and recycles. And as long as that system is allowed to do that, you will self-heal, you will not be in pain, you will sleep well, you will have energy, you'll be focused, you'll be optimistic, you'll feel connected to source, and lots of great stuff. Okay, so here's how most people are functioning. That energy comes down through the body, hits the earth, turns and rises up. And instead of being able to rise straight up through the body, it has to rise and go around various areas that we are shut down in. Either we've been shut down because of some past experience that we've had. So we're like, I'm never going to love again. That was too painful. Boom. Or I'm never going to trust this again because they duped me. Boom. Or I'm never going to be in relationship, or I'm never going to go for it at work because it got ripped out from under my feet. And here I am, splatted. And so in the moments that we're making conclusions like that, we're putting gaps in a superhighway. It's like a big chunk of the road just washes away, or gets like an earthquake happens and just pulls away part of the highway. So now here we are driving on this path, and we have to go around those gaps. We have to go around where the circuitry is shut down. We have to go around our limiting beliefs or our conclusions that we have drawn. And so this is kind of demonstrating what happens energetically with those ideas that we establish about ourselves, about life, about people, in general. So now what happens is this rising energy wobbles around these things. That wobbling rise creates a distortion in the energy field. Now, this person is standing in here inside of a distorted energy, looks out through a distorted view and thinks, the world is not safe. No one, there are no opportunities for me. I'm not one of the lucky ones. This isn't going to work for me. Those are natural thoughts when we're living inside of a distorted field. So we're then attracted to other distorted fields that help us sort of balance things out. And, the real problem is that feels great in the beginning, but but then when we start healing, it doesn't work. We start bouncing off of the individuals that we're in relationship with or what have you. Right? I can relate to that. It's like, oh, pick me.
That's
Yeah.
that's
All right.
happening to me. Yeah. For
So
those who
here's,
can't see the chart,
oh,
it says
okay.
a flow of bioenergetics for healing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Flow of
Okay.
bioenergetics for healing.
Okay.
So the energy comes down through the body, hits the earth, turns, comes up through the body, comes out the top of the head and cycles around the outside of the body. It comes back in at the tip of the spine at the bottom, and it comes up through the body and out through the top of the head and recycles and recycles and recycles. Okay. So here's how this relates to headaches. All right.
Oh,
That's the
good. We're
way.
tying it back to
Yeah,
headaches.
yeah. We got
Yeah.
to get to the headache answer. Okay. So, so, so the energy flows this way from tail to head. Okay. And then it comes out of the head and cycles around the outside of the body and comes back in here. So if we have a blockage at the heart level, then the energy is going to backlog into the stomach, and we're going to have stomach problems. If we have a blockage at the stomach level, the energy is going to backlog down into the low back, and somebody's going to have low back and hip issues or knee or leg or ankle.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. So if we keep going up or down, wherever this is, if we have a blockage in the throat, we're going to have heart issues. We're going to have chest pain and neck pain, that kind of stuff. It backlogs, okay? Because the energy can't escape and keep doing what it's trying to do. It like hits this dam in the river and it starts building and building and building, okay? So if we have headaches, it's because there's a blockage further along the line. There's a blockage at the root system. Because the energy can't get out of the head and cycle around into the root. So most people have no idea that there's a blockage at the base of their spine that's contributing to their headaches. Now,
I had no idea.
Yeah,
I had no idea. This is amazing.
Yeah. So when I was living with headaches for decades, I would go to the office and be able to help other people with my migraine headaches, with their migraine headaches, but I couldn't help myself with my own. And so I started realizing after I started missing work a day or two a week for about a 6 or 8 month period, I decided when I could go to work, I needed to start listening to what I was saying to these people that they were doing, and it was helping them because I could help them with their migraines. And so I started listening, and I realized that I wasn't doing what I was sharing. So I started doing it. And
I've been there too.
Yeah,
with my clients. I can learn so much from what I teach them.
Totally what's going on, right? So this backlog at the root system. So if someone doesn't have confidence in themselves, then they overthink, and it builds that energy even more. But the reason they don't have confidence in themselves is because at the root chakra level, they're not grounded and integrated. It's not turned on. The root chakra energies aren't enlivened. And so that energy is backing up into the head. And that even makes them think more and overthink and overanalyze and live in their heads because they don't feel connected. So what we have to do is start to recognize how we can start to move these energies through the system again. So the same is true with chest pain, with back pain, with stomach pain, with shoulder pain. All of it is because of energy getting backlogged because of a blockage. And so the number one reason for the blockages in the first place, no matter where they are in your system, is unresolved emotion. Unresolved emotion. Something happens.
So like unexpressed, or not healed. Yeah.
Exactly. You've experienced something and you don't know how to handle it. So you shove it under the rug, and there it sits. And there it sits, and there it sits. And it starts creating these shut down areas where we're just shoving it in, just packing it in there. It becomes too compressed, and the energy can't move through the area anymore because we're overly compressing its pathway. We're squeezing it down. So what we want to do is start to allow for this flow again. And so we can use the body to do that. So I have some ideas about some things that we could do right now to help people.
You want to do it right now? Now, I was just curious before we do this. Did you start practicing this, and how long did it take for your migraines to go away? Like so you realized that you need to start doing this. Was it a one time? Was it weeks? What was the time?
I realized I had to start doing this, and then I had to figure out how to do it. And I recognized that if I could get in my body instead of living in my head, I could have so much more power to move this kind of energy. You know, about 5 years prior to that, I had this experience where I kind of lit up in meditation to this higher self level. Here we are as human beings doing our thing with that whole toric field that we've been looking at. And we
Wow.
each have a higher state of consciousness that we call our higher self or the soulful self, etc. And I lit up here. I had in a meditation a life-changing experience. I could see in every direction the same, above, below, behind, in front, left and right. I was in a light 10 times brighter than the brightest day in the desert that I had ever seen. And I could see the earth beneath me, about the size of a marble. It was so far down there, and I was exalted that high. And everywhere I looked was this beautiful iridescent pink translucent light, this brilliant bright light, and this horizon that would rise and fall every time I took a breath, just rise up and lower. And I knew that this was the truth of every one of us. I was me. I had free will. I could look around in different directions, but I wasn't in a body. I was just this ray of light. And I knew that this was true about all of us. When I landed in this place, it was like, oh, this is who we are. I had no idea that this is the truth. And this thing down there on earth is just what we're doing. But this is who we are. This is what we're doing. This is who we are. And this is what we're doing. So when I started to recognize that, it changed my perception on the world. But what didn't happen is I didn't know how to embody that. When I came out of that meditative state and I looked around, I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? You know, what do I do with this? And it became my life. I started studying everything I could and finding and researching within myself how to reproduce it, how to get back to that state. And I figured out how to do it, but it took me years to do. I figured out how to do it is when my headaches went away. And so I started teaching patients what I was learning because I wanted their headaches to go away faster, or their back pain, or their stomach ulcers, or their, or their depression from their divorce and so forth. And so I started teaching them the things that I was learning. And that's what I ended up putting in the book, the energy codes, because I codified what was working for people. And so in a step-by-step process, people can go through this. So I can tell you that some people start doing these things and immediately it just because that's what was needed. And in some cases, people have to do it for a while because they also have to learn what they're doing with their mind that keeps reproducing the problem, right? So they can fix it, but then they knock it out of balance again, and then they get in there and align it, but then they keep pulling themselves out of balance. And so also what I have in the book is, and in all my coursework that I teach, is a real emphasis on, okay, let's start to pay attention to how we're using our minds, what we're doing with our breath, how we're living in our bodies, and put all that together so that we can truly make a difference in a short and appreciable amount of time, not only with the symptoms that we're trying to change, but the cause of those symptoms. And most importantly, not only with just health issues, but with everything. With our success, with our ability to manifest, with our ability to tolerate intimacy without it freaking us out, and to love again, and to open up, and to embrace our empowerment and our magnificence. We have a lot of facets to us, and they all need to be tuned into each other and working in tandem to get down the road in a life experience that is enjoyable and joyous, not just like trying to get by and trying to get through. So some people respond with their symptoms instantly the moment they start working with them. Some of them within a matter of days, some of them within weeks, some of them it takes a little longer because they've been living in their head so long they can't even feel in their body for the things that we're working with. And that's okay. We have ways of teaching people to work with it that don't require your ability to feel in your body right away, if that's not something that your system is acclimated to, used to. So all part of the healing process. You know, people think that we're here and that we need to enlighten become enlightened. But what I learned was we are the light, and our journey is to embody. We come to the physical dimension to embody, to come here fully. And if we come here fully, this thing works really well. But if we only come part way with parts of us in here, then we're dealing with a feeling of inadequacy. The reason people walk around feeling like they're not enough or they get intimidated so easily is because they're not fully in their body. If they were fully in their body, they would be everything that is. You know, when you look at this from another perspective, we are the universe itself right here. The unified field compresses into this channel and cycles like that whole system. And you are this compressed into a body. That's what's going on. And in the midst of that, we compress into this funnel, into this channel. We hit the earth, we rise up and recycle. And then we project our dreams and our desires and our original medicine out into the world and, you know, onto this movie screen. Like if my hand is a movie screen, we're projecting onto this movie screen. And that's the experience that we're having in this life. So if we're not liking that experience, we have to get better at building the circuitry in here that can project a comprehensive, beautiful movie out in front of us so that we love the life that we're living. So,
yeah, that's beautiful. Would you say that experience, I mean, that experience that you had is so amazing. I mean, it sounds psychedelic. Like, I'm sorry, just going to call it out. Like you took mushrooms.
It does sound psychedelic. It wasn't. I didn't use anything.
I know. I believe you.
Yeah.
But it sounds also like a near-death experience, but a lot higher. I mean, because people say they're going into the light, but it was like you felt that you were the light. You were everything. So it was different in that sense. Did you feel that experience led you or inspired you to write the energy codes? Was there something downloaded to you from that?
100%. That's what the energy codes are. 100%. The only reason I don't say it like that, and I'm happy to.
Okay.
Is, see, here you go. Here's another one. Good one. Yeah. Spiritual scientist and completely download inspiration and the energy codes. That's it. That's us today. So, right? So,
yeah.
So here is this, that it was a download, but it downloaded into a system that was trained as a scientist. And so it was blowing my mind because it didn't make logical sense at all. It was like, that doesn't happen. This can't, where's that? What's that? And so I started living into it because I knew it was more real than this world that I came back to. I was so transformed by it. It was so multidimensional that when I looked at people, you know how when you look at a photograph of someone, how it looks flat compared to the person standing there?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
It's a two-dimensional thing for a three-dimensional reality. Well, this three-dimensional reality was very flat compared to where I had been. I was walking around, it felt like I was walking around in a world of paper dolls for like months. Because
oh my God, that's kind of creepy.
It blew my circuits. It was wild.
Wow.
I thought I was losing my mind. But what was happening is I was expanding my consciousness, and my brain and nervous system was just catching up. It just took me a while to catch up, just like it takes a newborn a while to catch up when they're birthed into this world, how they're so illuminated and they look so glowing and filled with love, and they look at you, but they kind of look through you because they're trying to acclimate to where in the world they are, because it's not the same as where they just were. And so it's sort of like we birth ourselves into new realities. Now, the good news is what I learned was embodying grounded all of that and integrated it. And I was able to use that power for healing. And I was able to teach other people how to do the same thing. And that's what I've been doing for the last 24 years since that has happened. And it's been a most amazing life to turn this on in people and watch them start to put the pieces together and start to change their lives so dramatically because they get it. And they're not letting life have a hold of them. They're turning it into something that serves them instead of buckles them over and takes them out of the game because of the dramas and the traumas and the challenges that happen in human life, right? So we have the capacity to turn it into something beautiful, no matter what it is. We just have to learn that whole perspective. And that's what I'm teaching people in my coursework.
Yeah, that's incredible. So something that's coming up for me is the matrix. So sometimes people say we need to ascend the matrix. I kind of feel like when you were seeing these paper dolls, that maybe you were seeing that. Can you integrate that somehow and explain?
Yeah. So we are not living in the only reality. And, the Matrix is talking about there are multiple realities. There are multiple levels of consciousness that we can access. And actually, we are intended to access them because we're made of all of it. We exist from here all the way to here, every level of consciousness in between. And so in esoteric teachings, they're always talking about, ascended masters and Buddha consciousness and Christed consciousness and so on and on and on and on along the way here, from angels and archangels and all of that kind of stuff. And what it's all referencing is just various vibrational frequencies, just different energy frequencies of consciousness. And so we exist in all of them. There's a version of us that exists in all of them. So when people feel that they have like a visit from an angel, or they feel supported or guided by something, it's that part of their own consciousness that is lighting up. Their pieces and parts of them are starting to engage. And so when we can integrate and engage in all of them, then something really magical starts to happen in our lives. We start experiencing our timelessness, and we start experiencing our unconditionality. We start experiencing our freedom and our ease and grace of letting go of things that have haunted us our whole lives. And I experience this every day. In fact, I was just thinking about the tremendous transformation in my own life in just this past year, because it's coming around the holidays and so forth. And so you start taking this little inventory about things, and it's amazing to me. It's a quantum transformation in my own life in this last year, which I can say every year, but it's becoming so profound. And it is 100% because of me utilizing the energy codes, what I do to build the circuitry for integration of all these layers of consciousness. And the freedom that we start experiencing is immense. It's immense. I was a shy kid. I slept on the floor of my closet as a kid because I was so afraid, and it was the only place I felt safe. And I wouldn't speak. If I was spoken to, I would cry. It was terrible. It was terrifying to be me. And I grew up, as I was growing up, I would push myself to get out there and participate in life, just because, you had to. And it was traumatizing, but I did it and I was good at it. So, there I did that a bunch, and I was in pain on the inside, but, being successful on the outside. And, that finally was enough to buckle me over and start giving me migraine headaches. And so I sought out meditation as relief for my headaches. And then the next thing I know, boom, this lights up. So
wow, you're so lucky.
Here, based on experience and a deep desire to help other people really find a version of themselves that is more uplifted and more free and more integrated and more able to heal itself, because we are designed to do that. And if it's not happening, there's a reason. And so I love getting in there and just unpacking that and letting that energy flow again for people. So it's my great joy.
Yeah. And it's like, look what this trauma or stress led you to. These migraines led you to this incredible spiritual experience and helping like millions of people. I mean, it's just amazing that your story, and how you got into meditation and everything. That's so beautiful.
Yes. And so I dearly thank my migraine headaches.
Yes.
They were one of the greatest gifts of my life. One of the greatest gifts of my life. Some abuse in my childhood, one of the greatest gifts of my life. It pressed me toward wanting to learn about what is love, what really is it, and what is trust, and what is that really, and what matters most in life. And it started shaping me and waking me. And yet that last piece with those headaches was because that energy was just blocked on my own rootedness. And my root chakra was not lit up. I wasn't standing on my own. I was listening to, everyone else for advice and for approval and those kinds of things. And when I started to get a handle on that, everything changed. Everything changed. And so that's what I'm teaching people how to do, how to get in their body, how to ignite each one of those levels of consciousness that are represented by their chakras, and to really get a handle on themselves and to wake up to their empowered multidimensional self. So you asked about the matrix. We are the living matrix, and we utilize only a very, very small part of our consciousness. We're right here in this tiny little layer when we are that full spectrum of that image that I was sharing. And until we start really learning how to integrate mind and body and breath together in the body, we will continue to suffer. The reason that we suffer is because we're not utilizing our full capacity, period. That's it. It's the only reason. And as we learn to do so, there are ways to learn to do so that are graceful and integrative and nurturing and allowing for a beautiful unfoldment into your magnificence. And if you don't do that, life is going to teach you anyway. And it will be through accidents and incidents and crises and horrific things. And if you can take a hold of the situation, and you can, and learn how to do it consciously and intentionally, then you don't have to wait for those cosmic 2x4s to, wake you up into another version of who you truly are. So.
That's such a good point. And like what you were saying earlier, being preventative. So, I mean, this book is, I feel, it's my opinion, it can save your life, because it can transcend whatever trauma that you might be suffering from now, stress, whatever it might be. For me, I know I have changed a lot since 2020. I know that's been a long time, 2023, but I was diagnosed with cancer, and similar thing, trapped trauma and experiences inside me that I was unwilling to bring to the surface or recognize, give them voice. So it was truly a gift. Like you said, your migraines were a gift.
Yes, absolutely beautiful for you to be able to put those pieces together and to embrace it rather than run away from it or be defeated by it. That there's something that's trying to reveal to us, there's more to you. There's more to you. You do not have to suppress these things. You're not supposed to. You're not intended to. You are meant to be free and to bring these things up and out and allow them to be integrated. And as we do, we start to experience just a much greater version of who we are and what life really has to offer.
Yeah. And speaking of that, feeling free, how can we free ourselves from regrets or external judgments?
Beautiful. From external judgments. So here's what I know. In that movie we were talking about that we're projecting.
Yes.
Okay? If we're judging ourselves, we project it onto the movie and it looks like other people are judging us. Okay. What's going on? There's actually, quantum science is teaching us that there's nobody out there. It's really just us. We're just here in this exercise of consciousness, and all these people are representing different parts of consciousness. And our whole idea here is to—
That's deep.
It's very deep. It gets very deep. And if I talk about that in my coursework, I explain it and I unpack it and everything. I don't mean to just drop the bomb there, but I do want us to realize that life is a reflection of what our outer world is, a reflection of what's going on in our inner world. And so if people are judging us on the outside, we are judging us on the inside, if it's having an impact. So someone can judge me. And if I'm not judgmental of myself, their judgment of me, I will see that judgment as, wow, I wonder why they have to judge people. I I wonder why they're in so much pain that they have to project that pain onto someone else. I wonder how I could help them. So if I'm integrated, that's how I'm going to receive that judgment. It has nothing to do with me. It's about, oh my gosh, look at this person who's going around judging everybody. I wonder how much pain they must be in if they can't even tolerate all their pain, so they have to start spitting it on other people. Okay, wow, that's some real pain. I wonder how I might be of service to them. How might I help them? How might I be able to just, be a friend to them, or point it out in some loving way and be there for them to like unpack that. Now, if I'm not integrated, somebody judges me, and it, buckles me over. And so then that's a gift, because if it buckled me over, it means, wow, I've been judging myself, or because I don't know my magnificence. And the only way I wouldn't know my own magnificence is if I'm self-judging. So if I'm having an opinion about myself and judging myself, or not allowing myself to be whole and complete and alive and worthy and equal, shoulder to shoulder with the world out here, then when someone judges me, it's going to tap that nerve in me. It's going to tap the gap in me. That's what it's doing. It's tapping this gap here. It's saying, hey, have you noticed? Do you realize? Do you remember? Can you please do something about this? That's what the whole life system is trying to do for us. Like, you got to tend to that. So if someone judges you and it affects you, it's your gift. And what I love to do is teach you what to do with that. If you could ask yourself, where in my body am I activated when this person judges me? Where does it get me? Do I get a knot in my stomach? Do I get a lump in my throat? Do I get tightness in my chest? Because wherever it's affecting me is a specific reflection on what part of my consciousness is needing to be embodied and integrated. If it's my loving, compassionate self, if it's my wisdom piece, if it's my personal power, if it's my voice in the world, if it's my understanding of my multidimensionality, it's something is going to be activated when I get judged if I'm not integrated. And I can use my body to show my mind where I need to go to work on me specifically on a priority basis. And that's the beauty of the mind and body and breath working together. But if they're not working together, the mind just goes, why are you judging me so bad? That was so hurtful. Why do you do that? And now we have an argument instead of a teaching, instead of an awakening, or instead of a call for help that we recognize in the other person. And so we're misinterpreting what's going on. We're misperceiving what's going on. If we're being affected by being externally judged, it means we have work to do on the self. And it doesn't mean, hey, just go get your work done. It means, to me, let me show you how to do that, because it's step by step. It's easy to understand. It's easy to learn. And we just need to put the pieces together so that we can start using life to our advantage instead of being blown away by it when that happens. So you asked me about external judgment. And what was the other one? You asked about
free from regret. So you did cover external judgments. And I just wanted to say, it's interesting. I think as I have evolved, so say somebody is judging you, like my kids, they'll be mad or something and say, you're the worst mom ever. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at it because it doesn't really affect me now because I feel like I've ascended that. And then my kids later will say, oh, I'm so sorry, mom, or whatever it is. So I don't know. It's just interesting because I'm like experiencing that judgment, but I'm not really feeling it. And I'm practicing unconditional love, right? I'm trying to just like send them love, but there still could be something that I'm judging within myself. That's why it's happening in my experience, right?
Yes,
that she's saying that.
Yeah, it's going to keep showing up until we get to the bottom of it in here. And then as soon as we get to the bottom of it, it doesn't need to happen anymore. And so it doesn't. It's not a in your life anymore. And if it does happen, you don't even notice it because it's not on your radar because you've healed that. It's okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. So the other thing I said was, how can we free ourselves from regrets?
So regrets mean that we've sold short some past situation. We've sold ourselves short. regret means that I don't remember that I showed up the best that I could in that moment. And so I'm judging myself that I should have been better. I should have handled it differently, or they never should have done that, or I never should have done that. And the reason that starts to be a way of living for us is that we're not fully in the body, we're not integrated, and we're not able to see that everything that happens in our life is happening right on time, exactly the way that it should happen, to prod us into the next and the next and the next awakening that we're going to have. And if we are living in a trusted relationship with the universe, it's going to roll that way for us. We're going to feel, wow, I wish that had gone differently, but it didn't. And so I'm going to get busy paying attention to what I got out of it, or what I would do differently next time, and move on and take it to the body in the same way that I invited everyone to take it to their body when they're being judged by someone, when they're being judged by themselves. Where do I get activated inside my system when I am regretting? Because the only reason I'm holding on to something in the past is because I haven't awakened to something. Think about it this way. The subconscious will hold on to that until you get the gift out of it. So we keep regretting it. We keep regretting, or we keep grudging until we get the gift that it's trying to awaken us to. And once we get the gift, it's gone. We don't, it's like, where did that go? I used to regret that. I used to feel really bad. I barely remember it even happening, but for years it haunted me. But when I finally get the gift, it's gone. So if regrets are there, there's still a gift inside of that you haven't discovered yet. You haven't unwrapped it. You haven't unpacked it yet. And so guilt, regret, grudge, those kinds of energies, they're placeholders. They keep the situation close at hand until you get in there and get the gift out, and then it goes away. Then it just dissolves. But it stays so that you can evolve. It's truly a backside of the model way of evolving. It's like the hard way, but it's a way that we evolve until we start to realize these things and work with them proactively. The moment that we recognize it, we know what to do. We take it to the body. We squeeze these anchor points that I teach people, and we start breathing and building circuitry so that energy can flow again the way that it's supposed to. And the next thing you know, we're integrated, we're empowered, we're awakening, and we're getting younger, and we're getting more joyous and more enthusiastic and inspired about life. And we just kind of can't get enough of it because it's juicy, and everything becomes material to work with instead of something I've got to get through. It's like, oh, this is going to be good. How do I know? Because it's really got a hold of me, and I'm really upset right now. So there's something really good in this one for me, and I'm not going to let go until I find it. And then I teach people how to find it, not just figure it out with their mind, but let their body and their mind and their breath work together so that they pick up enough momentum to get to the bottom of it a lot faster. So,
well, I did want to ask you another question, but we only have about 30 seconds left. I told you I would end now. Okay. I wanted to ask about healing. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I wanted to ask if you feel like it's better to heal yourself, like teaching with the methods, like learn the methods from you, or do you feel like it's beneficial to work with a healer or practitioner?
You know, I love to teach people how to heal themselves. And then I teach them how to be practitioners, because we need both in the world.
You need both.
And what I know is that I teach them to heal themselves, and then I teach them how to go help other people. And when they start helping other people, it helps them even more because we see these real life experiences, and we see these things come in front of us that we hear ourselves. Just like I said, you know, I started listening to what I was telling my patients, and I was able to heal myself because of what was happening in the dynamic exchange between me and my patients, you know, day after day after day. So both are very important. And I think first things first, I think really going to work on ourselves is a beautiful place to start in the world. It's authentic. It will allow you to show up for patients or clients, whatever, in a true blue way, because you're walking your talk, and, you know, there's nothing like that. And it allows you to be free and you know that you can handle things because you've healed them in yourself, or you're healing them in yourself. You don't have to be squeaky, figured all out, and organized in a 100% type of fashion before you begin to help other people. But you have to get aligned, really. I think we've seen enough teachers and officials and doctors that aren't walking their talk. They're trying to lead our societies, our communities, and it's not effective because they don't really, it's hollow. It's not really soulful and integrated. And I think we're evolving to a place where it's just not acceptable for us to tolerate that anymore. We're interested in the real deal.
Yes. So true. Well, it's been such a pleasure learning from you, connecting and hearing about the energy codes. And there's also a free gift, a free meditation from Dr. Sue. And I'll put that link in the show notes. It will help you ground and integrate the healing presence within you. So Beautiful. Thanks so much for being on my show today, Dr. Sue.
My great pleasure. It's always a joy to connect with you. So anytime, I'm happy to come back and pick up where we left off.
That's it for today's episode of Zen Success. Head on over to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show and share with friends. Be sure to head on over to ZenSuccessShow.com to help you on your Zen success journey, and join us on the next episode. May you find your own Zen success in life.